Hi guys, welcome to Learning Electronics Repair and a video sponsored by PCBWay.com. So in this video we're going to have a look at the last of the entries for the Design a Signal Injector pen that fits in a pen competition. That's a mouthful, yeah. I have these boards by Thunderace. This is actually a dual transistor multi-vibrator type circuit, similar to the one that I built but using separate transistors. This one actually integrates the battery holder on the board and the switch. The very small one I built actually had them separate, mounted on the back. These PCBs, I actually ordered them, I'll be honest, in the wrong thickness. I meant to get 0.8mm, these are something like 1.6. So these are very thick PCBs, but I don't think that'll have any particular effect on whether this fits into a pen or not. We will find out. This one is double-sided surface mount. That's the first one I've tried to build. It is. The rest have been single-sided. We had a double-sided through-hole one in the previous video. Of course, I will link that in this one. And I have these PCBs from Jeff. You can see this is a much thinner PCB. You can actually select the thickness you want when you order from PCBWay.com. If you want to get really interesting, you can get flexible PCBs, aluminium PCBs. There are lots of different options available. This one uses a dual transistor. Okay, this is another multi-vibrator type circuit. This one is single-sided. He has an interesting cutout here for the battery. So again, when you're ordering from PCBWay.com, you don't have to have just regular shaped PCBs. You can have things like this as well. Okay. And lastly, I have these PCBs from Detlef. Now, Detlef designed this one for the competition, but he then went and did something very clever. Okay. And he showed that on the live stream, but I have it here. So I'll also show you what Detlef did. This one you can see is another one of these 0.8mm thickness PCBs. And again, it's not rectangular. Yeah, it has these curved corners. This one also demonstrates a mixture of mounting holes for through hole and SMD. Okay, now let's build some of these and put them through the paces. In fact, we see here the schematic, so we can see this is a very simple multi-vibrator circuit. These J3Y, this is the S8005. I have those transistors, so I actually have the correct ones. I'll see what I can do with this switch. Hopefully I'll have the right one. And the battery holder, I think he made that with a paper clip. Okay, so the smallest battery I had was actually too big for where the holder goes on the PCB. So I've used my little spot welder and just attached some little tags onto the battery there. And let's try it. Oh yes, that works. So we have, let's see, 1.2 kilohertz. Yeah. And about 1.5 volts. That typical shaped waveform we get from a multi-vibrator or bistable multi-vibrator circuit. Okay, but that's working nicely. Okay, that would definitely fit into a pen. The battery which Thunderace said to use was actually smaller than one I had, but the fact that I soldered that, it was no wider than the PCB. This one is just 7mm wide, maybe just a fraction less than that. Okay, and what do we have? 3.2 centimeters. Yeah, nice one, Thunderace. That works really well. Now let's put Jeff's version together. I was actually wrong about this being where the battery goes. This is actually where the switch goes. You can just about see SW. The battery actually goes here on this one. And if we have a look at the layout of this, you can see there. So this is where the switch goes. Okay, battery SR621 or like. I'll see what I have. This again actually is a multi-vibrator type circuit with a dual transistor in here, different to the one that I use. So this actually has to go on in the correct direction. The type I use works the same both way rounds. Okay. You can see here's assembled version. So the switch actually goes sideways in that gap. I think I have everything I need from the layout to assemble this. Let's just look at these transistors. So BC847S. And we see that here. It looks like there is a dot in the top left. Let's just look at the pin out of this transistor. And we see that here. And this is in fact not polarized. Okay, so if you can just picture turning this upside down, electrically it would have the same characteristics. That's why they effectively connected this way. So swing it round the other way, then that pin becomes there. It's still the collector, the base is still in the middle. Okay, and the emitter of the other transistor is still there, you see? So it can go either way round. This is the smallest component on here, so we'll try and deal with this first. The best way to do this is to solder one pin down first. Okay, a little bit of solder on the pad there. A little bit of flux always helps. Okay, we take our double transistor. Okay, slide it into place and just want to tag down that pin for now. Okay, straight, a little bit flatter. Okay. You see, I can still move it around a little bit if I want to slide it across a little bit more. No problem. Of course, you should always know when to leave it well alone. Yeah. And it's soldered. That was the most tricky part to do. Once we got that down, everything else should be fairly easy. I've realised, in fact, there's an error here. So these say 10 microfarad, 10 microfarads, the capacitors. Now this is actually the same design as the one that I built. Same resistor values. And on mine, these were 10 nanofarads. Okay, all 10 nanofarads. And it was oscillating at about 200 odd hertz. And I commented that we should reduce the value of these capacitors. And figured out about 2.2 nanofarads was going to give us somewhere around a kilohertz. So I'm going to put 2.2 nanofarads on this one and then a 10 nanofarad in there. I also noticed when I put the first two resistors in, these are 0603. This PCB is designed for 0805, so I fitted the larger ones there. I've left them in, won't be a problem. And I suspect these capacitors might also be 0805, but they look a little bit smaller to me. To the footprints from the resistor. Yeah, I think we should put 0603 in here. And that's assembled. I like this. I like this design. This was really quite innovative to put the button in there. Okay. You could obviously have it mounted slightly further outwards. The battery I can do in a similar manner to the other one. So let's connect this up and let's see if it works. Yes. So this one's running at 1.59 kilohertz. That's with a pair of 2.2 nanofarad capacitors. So 3.3 with those resistor values would actually give us closer to 1 kilohertz. Okay. The output capacitor is 10 nanofarads. So another one working nicely. This one is, let's see, 8mm wide. So again, will fit nicely into a pen. And just 4.5 centimeters, 46mm long. Okay. That I really like, by the way. Yeah, I thought it was an excellent idea. I've noticed when you let go, the capacitor's running just for an instant longer, yeah? Just a couple of things I'll mention. This pad here, when I asked PCBWay to manufacture this, they weren't sure what to do with that pad. So they said, should we just cover it in solder mask? And because I didn't design it, I wasn't sure what they meant, so I said yes. That should have been exposed copper, although I scraped away a bit and stuck it on. But that wasn't anything to do with PCBWay. They did ask and they followed my instructions. I just wasn't sure what it was supposed to be because it wasn't my design. Let's have a look at Detlef's effort. And this is highly experimental. The chip here, 7WZ14, this is an inverting Schmidt trigger, a logic chip. And if we use that with a resistor and capacitor, we can make it oscillate. I'll show you the schematic in a moment. And this one is actually powered using photodiodes. So you can only use this if there's light, but because it doesn't have a battery, it doesn't need an on-off switch because there's no battery to discharge. That is the theory. Whether or not this will work, we really don't know. But you know what, guys? There's only one way to find out. And I stumble at the first hurdle. So we can see that Det uses this NC7WZ14 dual inverting Schmidt trigger. I'll just show you the schematic. So that is the oscillator. He used two capacitors in parallel. That's because he wasn't sure of the frequency, so fit just one if you want to get double the frequency. I don't think that was really necessary, so we could get away with 1, 2, 3, 4 components. Okay. I looked up the data sheet for this, and we have it here with the pinout that matches Det's design. However, I didn't have any of these, so I ordered, and you can see 5 PCs, NC7WZ14P6X, okay, 5 PCs, part number, and we see a picture of it. We can see these are marked Z14C, but they're clearly the wrong device, okay. So I can't build Dets. I thought I had the right thing. I'm not sure what I have. But this means I'll have to order again. Okay, so Dets we cannot build, which is a shame because I wanted to see if it would work. But I can show you something that Det made, which was not entered into this competition. And this is it. So this doesn't even use a PCB. You can see there's a chip in there. Okay, he just put epoxy resin on. I think you can see between the red and the black wire, that brown thing, that is a capacitor. Okay, that's wired actually across the power pins. The chip is a little Atmel microcontroller. So this is an ATtiny 412. That's the processor, okay. Det had a very simple bit of code, about 6 lines of code, and this outputs a signal at 1 kHz. The only thing it doesn't really have is a capacitor to protect the chip if you happen to be poking around something that is high voltage, okay. But I can show you this working. And there we can see, having moved myself a little bit so you can see the screen, this is running at 1.013 kilohertz, so very close to 1 kilohertz. I have the probe set to ×1. I have the scale at 1 volt per division. I think you can clearly see, even without the reading on the screen, that is 5 volts high exactly, and very, very square. So I have to hand that to Detlef. He made the smallest version, although not much smaller than my PCB, I will say, about 6mm, okay, but the lowest component count of 2, and it may not even need the capacitor across the power pins. There is my PCB, which is the previous smallest version, just to give you a comparison. We do have another subscribers entry. I messed up the order with PCBWay. It was my fault, not theirs. So I'll get those PCBs ordered and we will build that. And I will get the correct part for this one of Detlef's. I really don't know why that went wrong because it looks like I did order the right part, but that's not what I got. So I'd just like to say, in the meantime, thank you guys for entering all these designs. This was really interesting. And maybe I'll come up with another challenge for you guys because you obviously enjoyed this. So I'll get thinking, what else can I maybe challenge you to? Just want to thank PCBWay once again for sponsoring these videos and making this possible. And of course, you guys for watching. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Chat about it down there. And I look forward to seeing you all soon again on Learning Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.